Saint of the Day, October 5th, St. Faustina Kowalska. Today, October 5th, the Church celebrates the feast of Saint Faustina Kowalska, a humble Polish nun whose extraordinary life and mystical experiences have brought the world the powerful message of divine mercy. In a century marked by war, suffering, and immense upheaval, St. Faustina became a beacon of hope, reminding us of the limitless mercy and love of Christ for every soul. Born Helena Kowalska in 1905 in the small village of Głogowicz, Poland, she was the third of 10 children in a devout but impoverished family. From a young age, Helena was drawn to prayer and felt a deep call to religious life, experiencing her first sense of vocation at just 7 years old. However, the demands of her family and her parents' initial reluctance meant that her entry into the convent would be delayed. Despite these obstacles, Helena's longing to dedicate herself to God only intensified. At the age of 18, while attending a dance, she was struck by a vision of the suffering Christ, who asked her, "How long will you keep putting me off?" Deeply moved, she immediately left for the Cathedral of Lodz, where, in prayer, Jesus directed her to go to Warsaw and enter religious life without delay. Trusting entirely in God's providence, she set out alone for the city with little more than the clothes she wore. Upon arriving in Warsaw, Helena faced further trials. Several convents turned her away, citing her lack of education and financial means. Nevertheless, her determination was unwavering. Finally, the Mother Superior of the Congregation of the Sisters of Our Lady of Mercy, Zgromadzenie Siesta Matki Bożej Miłosierdzia, welcomed her, moved by her sincerity and perseverance. In 1926, Helena received the religious habit and took the name Sister Maria Faustina of the Blessed Sacrament. 2 years later, she professed her first vows and began serving in various convents across Poland, performing humble tasks with great love. It was during her years as a religious sister that St. Faustina's mystical experiences deepened. On February 22, 1931, while in her cell in the convent at Plock, she saw a vision of Jesus clothed in a white garment, with rays of red and pale light streaming from his heart. He asked her to have an image painted according to the vision, with the words "Jesus, I trust in you" inscribed below. Though St. Faustina lacked artistic skill and initially received little support from those around her, she persevered. With the help of her spiritual director and a local artist, the first Divine Mercy image was painted in 1934 under her guidance. Throughout her life, St. Faustina continued to receive revelations from Jesus, which she recorded in her diary, later published as Divine Mercy in My Soul. In these writings, she details Christ's urgent call for the world to trust in his mercy, to seek forgiveness, and to be merciful to others. In 1936, St. Faustina's health began to decline, likely due to tuberculosis. She spent her final years in a sanatorium in Krakow, suffering greatly yet remaining steadfast in her trust in Jesus. Even in her pain, she continued to pray, to unite herself with Christ's passion, and to offer her sufferings for the salvation of souls. She passed away on October 5, 1938, at the age of 33, leaving behind a legacy of faith and hope. After her death, the message of divine mercy spread quickly, especially after her diary was made public. Despite early skepticism and even a temporary ban on the devotion, the Church eventually recognized the authenticity of her revelations. In the year 2000, Pope St. John Paul II, himself a son of Poland, canonized St. Faustina as the Apostle of Divine Mercy and established Divine Mercy Sunday as a feast for the Universal Church, to be celebrated on the Sunday after Easter. Today, the Divine Mercy image and the simple prayer "Jesus, I trust in you" are known and loved by millions. Through the witness of St. Faustina's life and her message, we are reminded that God's mercy is inexhaustible, available to each of us in our need and sinfulness. St. Faustina invites us to trust in Jesus completely, to receive his mercy, and to become instruments of mercy to others. On her feast day, let us ask St. Faustina to intercede for us, that we may open our hearts ever more fully to the merciful love of Christ and share that love with the world. St. Faustina Kowalska, pray for us.